Hey, Andy Brown here. I want to talk to you a little bit today about the Enneagram. I have been hearing tons about the Enneagram lately, which I love because I've been into it for over a decade and it has impacted my life on some really deep levels. So I love that lots of people are talking about it right now. But today I wanted to just talk to you about what I think are probably the top three misconceptions about the Enneagram and some of the things that set it apart from other personality profiles. So, jumping right in, number one, a lot of people, when they first approach the Enneagram, you want to see, like, oh, is there a test I can take? Now, with the Enneagram, there are a bunch of different tests. There's some of them that are free, there's some you have to pay for. The tricky part about the Enneagram is it's not a personality test, it's really more of a journey. And so while these tests can be helpful, they're really more like a compass that are going to hopefully point you in the right direction. Even the personality profiles that have tests are only as accurate as we are aware of ourselves. So we can only report on what we know, right? So with the Enneagram, that's even more true. The free ones out there are going to be very limited in their ability to give you an accurate read. And even the paid ones are only like 60-70% accurate when they're scientifically validated. So one of the things I encourage people to do is if you're getting into the Enneagram, go ahead and take one of those tests. If you got 10 or 15 bucks, pay for it. And then use that as a compass to point you in the right direction with maybe like top 2 or 3 numbers and really jump in and get to know those numbers and see what resonates with you. So number 2, kind of going along with that, people think, well, it should just be easy to figure out my number. Part of the thing I love about the Enneagram is that it is a look at what motivates us at a very deep level. So when I talk to people about other personality profiles, for example, I might say like the Strengths Finder is a drive-by view of your house, right? The Myers-Briggs might be the interior, layout and decoration, whereas the Enneagram is the foundation. It talks about the things that really undergird a lot of like who we are as a person and why our personality is the way it is. So it's not always easy to figure out. The cool thing is, like I said from the last point, it's a journey. And so the more you get to know about yourself, the more you benefit. Which leads me to my third kind of misconception about the Enneagram, and that is that it's pretty simple overall. The Enneagram is actually very complex, but the cool thing about it is it's not hard to get into. So you can start with just the 9 numbers and try to figure out what your number is, and it tells you some stuff really basic at first. And then the more you get into it, the more you find out that there are all these, different aspects of it. You may have heard people talk about your wing, right? Or what numbers you function out of when you're more healthy or less healthy. The history of the Enneagram goes back so far. I mean, some people even trace it as far back as to the 4th century with the desert father Evagrius Ponticus, and say its origins began there. So hundreds of years, literally, this thing has been in thousands of years, this thing has been in development, and it's developed in all these really complex and amazing ways. And the thing I love about it is that the more you get to know about it, the more you get to know about yourself. And so as I've used it personally and in my relationships and now in my practice over the last decade plus, I've found that I just keep finding new and amazing things around the corner. So if you have questions about it at all, feel free to hit me up. I'm a total nerd when it comes to the Enneagram, and I love getting people resources, talking to people about it. If you end up in my office and we end up talking about life issues, odds are I'm going to be thinking of the Enneagram back here somewhere, and wondering how it plays in and how it relates. So I'm always happy to help in any way that I can.